is. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 28 of Great Race Plays for races at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita, this Saturday. I am your host, Howard Kravitz, good friend and co-host Paul Halloran and Ryan Anderson, and we are here as usual to talk about fantastic Saturday fare at Santa Anita. It's the Turf Pick 3 and the Late Pick 3, both a $3 bet, and we're here to preview for you. Welcome everyone, especially those of you on the West Coast watching on the Santa Anita YouTube channel and the Santa Anita X handle. Of course, everyone watching on our X handle and our YouTube channel as well. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. If you don't follow us, ladies and gentlemen, now is the time, because there is a huge set of races called the 2025 Breeders' Cup. And ladies and gentlemen, we are only, 16 days away. Cannot believe it, to the Breeders' Cup, and we're going to be covering it like a glove. Of course, great interest out on the West Coast as the races are at Del Mar this year. A lot of horses training, of course, at the Great Race Place at Santa Anita, including a horse called Nisos, who got back on the work tab as a big pet favorite of my friend there at the bottom. Hopefully he can keep it together, not the person at the bottom, but Nisos, and stay healthy enough to run in what looks like the Dirt Mile, although there have been hints of maybe some other races, but we shall see. We also have a great tip sheet. You can see that on the bottom of the screen. Great ROI. It's been going on almost 5 years now. It's fantastic. It's inexpensive. It's profitable. Look below the video player for information about our PowerX tip sheet. And the last promotional item I want to mention is our Breeders' Cup. We have a special Breeders' Cup Power Pick tip sheet that, of course, Paul and Ryan will be a part of. It is only $35. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen tip sheets for 60, 75, 80, 90 bucks, etc. This is only 35. You read that correctly on the bottom of the screen. There's over 20 pages of information for the Breeders' Cup. Again, it's only $35 if you're a Power Pick subscriber normally. If not, it's $45. All the information is on our website. All you do is you go to hhhracingpodcast.com, and at the top of the page, there is a Power Pick tip sheet tab. Click on that. It opens up some other, there's a drop-down menu, and you hit the Breeders' Cup PP, it doesn't stand for past performances. It stands for Power Picks. Anyway, main page at the top, click the Power Picks tip sheet, hit the drop-down for Breeders' Cup. It is on sale right now. Paul, I'm very excited about the Breeders' Cup. Obviously, we're going to have a ton of coverage. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm got my sea legs back after 5 action-packed days in Kentucky. I covered a lot of furlongs, not very quickly, but I did cover a lot of ground, and it was great to see you there, and Noah and Kyle and my crew. It was just a tremendous weekend.
Sure, it was great, and we missed Ryan and Jackson. They were there the weekend before, and we had the great Cody's Wish monument in Israel. We'll talk more in our show on tomorrow, Paul, on Thursday, but it was quite amazing. Ryan, I got to tell you, I felt a little bit, I understood Jackson, because as much as I love Keeneland, it did sort of kick my butt financially, which admittedly, without sounding too selfish, doesn't usually happen, or too arrogant, but for some reason just wasn't feeling it at Keeneland this past 2 weekends from a betting perspective. That's why we're here back at Santa Anita, Ryan, the Great Race Place where we know we can crush it, right, my friend?
That's right. We're back at Santa Anita. I was back from a weekend out of town where, I took a nice little reprieve from racing, which is always good this time of year. Take a nice little week off before the action-packed Breeders' Cup prep. I looked at my calendar and I realized I have about 6 more days before my schedule is like 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. for Breeders' Cup work. So whether that's on track at Del Mar or doing, work for the shows here and over on my channel. So it's going to be, I'm going to enjoy these next 6 days. I'll say that. And then it's going to be hit the ground running for sure.
Ralph is here. Katie is here. Let's see. Some guy named Paul Halloran is, well, he's really here. He's actually on the show. We have some new names. I'm not sure. At Lois Sayer, 2009. Hello. That was for Katie, but thanks for joining the show. Appreciate it, Mr. Pilars. Hello, men. Looking forward to great info on the Santa Anita Late Pick 3. Jim Pilars is here. Anyway, we've got great viewers and listeners. They're all ready to rock and roll. Paul, I felt bad for Ryan until I realized he's getting up to watch Breeders' Cup horses work. I mean, life could be worse than that.
It sounds like my average Saratoga day. You'll get, and I'm 40 years older than you, so you'll get no sympathy from me.
I don't need any sympathy. It's the best racetrack on the planet.
I'll tell you what. Well, no, it isn't. But you will do a great job. I've seen you in action, and I'm looking forward to following it. You do a terrific job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you cover like a glove. We're looking forward to seeing those videos at 4:30 a.m. on the backside on X. Well, we'll be checking that out. All right, guys, let's get into it. Santa Anita, Saturday, interesting set of races. Again, Turf Pick 3, Late Pick 3. The Turf Pick 3 starts in race 5. So we're going to start race 5 Saturday, 3:05 Eastern. Main special, 1 mile. Rail is out 10 feet. Fillies, 2-year-olds, Calbreds, field of 8. Look at the board, completely wide open. Moreline favors number 5, Drewliner, for Craig Lewis and JJ. Let's see where we're going to go here. And what I thought was a difficult way to start the sequence. I'm going 2-4-3. Paul's going 5-4-7. Ryan's going 7-4-8. We are all over the map here. Paul, we're going to start with you. You are going to end up with the favorite. I'm assuming a lot of you guys did not see the morning lines beforehand. But, Paul, you are chalking out, according to the morning line, with the JJ Hernandez ridden Drewliner.
Yeah, I'm only half surprised to see us spread out the way we are. There's a lot going on here, and obviously the horse that I picked appears to be very pace dependent based on her last race. Again, she was a little more forward in the dirt sprint, and I'm just wondering if JJ Hernandez is going to be a little more aggressive than Kyle Fry. That was part of my reasoning. I think this horse has a chance to be a little more forward. The horse took money last time and almost got there. You don't really want a favorite like this that is so pace dependent, but anyone who has a stick out in the race, please send it along to us. Well,
let's watch this replay because there's 4 horses coming out of the race, and Ryan's top choice is also in this race. So it's 80s, correct? Is that your top choice?
Yes, that is.
Okay, so watch the 4, 7, 9, 10. Guys, I realize these are 2-year-olds going long on the turf, and it's Calbreds. I got to tell you. And it's part of the reason why I went with my top choice. This race, yikes. I mean, no bueno as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'm being too harsh because, again, these are horses going first time around 2 turns. But I'm just going to go right to the finish here. 4, 7, 9, 10 is you want to keep your eye on. The 4 had a weird trip, Paul, because your top choice is sort of wide here. It looks like he's in no man's land. Then makes a big run, but then sort of falls back and then comes on again. Meanwhile, your horse, who was 30-1 here on the outside, was really pressing what ended up being a relatively hot pace the whole time, Ryan. So I get where look at the 4. I mean, this horse just got lost and then came again. Paul, your reaction to this replay. Here's your horse here.
Yeah, it's just, as you said it almost looked like, the jockey, if you note, the jock gave him a crack of the crop halfway around the turn, which is typically not a good sign. But as you said, Howard, it looks like he was just daydreaming, so to speak. But I will say, once he got the reminder and straightened him out, again, we'll find out how good the field or how bad the field was Saturday. But, I did think he was really running late. Again, not really thrilled about him needing that reminder, but you said the first thing you said, they are 2-year-olds, and there's certainly plenty of room for maturity in these type of races.
And there's the 7 right there, hanging around and was pressing the pace, Ryan. But I guess any of these horses can win. My issue is, and again, I know it's 2-year-old Calbreds. That final time, guys, was actually 140. I think if we saw it, I think it was sub 140. They might change the time slightly after looking at the race, but I don't know, Ryan. I have questions about this particular race we just watched.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm not saying that any superstars. There's not an unusual heat in this field or anything. That we're gonna have to see for years to come. But for my pick on 80s, that horse hung around where the other 4 that were up on the pace or 4 that were 1 through 5 throughout the running of the race, they finished bottom 4. 80s held on to get third. Seemed to dig in as much as that horse could, with the time that they were going and with how they were running. So I thought I'd take a shot. It should be noted that the 4, the 5, and the 7 who all come out of that race, they all get significant rider upgrades, in my opinion. Go from Diego Herrera to Rispoli. On Drewliner, you get Juan Hernandez in for Frey, and for Nancy 2.0, you get Freysu instead of Van Dyke. So you get 3 very substantial upgrades, in my opinion.
No, that's an excellent point. That's very fair. No doubt about it. I'm going to go with the horse like it's a little bit off the radar, the number 2, Cecilia Street. Guys, the first race that the horse ran, she's only been on dirt. She's by Stanford, who's actually not as bad on turf as you might think. Speaking of unusual heat, Second Family. The dam, a walk in the park, was absolutely all turf, guys. I mean, this is and a good turf horse. Has not really dropped any horses really that are that good, obviously, but she was a turf horse. Gets DeMuro. Leonard Powell is obviously a European trainer at heart, knows what he's doing. Blinkers off. Guys, I watched these 2 works to me on the training track on the Sin are much better. Actually, some of the dirt works are pretty good too. I watched those Sin efforts on the turf, on the training track. Excuse me. One of them you could see, guys. I like the way she moves on the synthetic. And who does she really have to beat in here? She gets blinkers off. She had blinkers off the debut when she ran perfectly fine considering the field. I don't know, guys. That last race, any of those horses can win. I'm going to use a lot of them. Even Humidity, the first time starter for Eclipse, I think it's going to take some money with Kimura. I don't know. I thought it was wide open, Paul. I think you'd go a lot of directions personally.
I agree with you about that, and it is a tough start to a $3 sequence. I can tell you that with some reasonable confidence, because I don't see how you get too skinny here. I like Ryan's point on his horse, that his horse at least stuck around. I like your point that race just might have been a total caca race. That's a technical term. But if it wasn't, then I like the way my horse ran in the stretch. So good luck starting this sequence.
By the way, for the record, Paul, not a little personal note, it's very hard for me to be too skinny anyway, but we could talk about that later.
Yeah, we call it Jenny Craig on the Power Picks.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go on to race 7. Race 7 is leg 2 of the Turf Pick 3. Yes. And it's not part of the late pick 3. So leg 2 of the Turf Pick 3 is race 7. Maine claiming 50 on the dirt. It's on the turf. Sorry, on the turf. Another difficult race, field of 9. More lane favorite is number 8, Sweet Odyssey, D'Amato, and Freysu. Let's see where we're going. We're a little more similar. I'm going 8-6-4. Paul's going with the same 3, 4-8-6. Ryan's going with the horse that none of us have in the top 3. He's going with both sides of bad. Mullins and Barrios. Ryan's going 3-8-7. Go ahead, Ryan. Why is bad going to be good on Saturday?
Yeah, both sides of bad. There's 4 coming out of this race. Sweet Odyssey, your favorite, is coming out of that race. And honestly, my point goes to that race where Sweet Odyssey, very likely winner here. I don't think that's really up for too much debate. Poor Connection came out to improve the buyer, 7 points next out. But both sides of bad, if you watch the race back, closed into a pace that was pretty slow. It went wire to wire with Makutu up top with Diego Herrera. Poor Connections had a very nice trip. Pretty much stalking in second and third the whole way around. Sweet Odyssey had the trip in fourth, sometime kind of dropped back to fifth throughout the running of the race, and was also favored that day, whereas both sides of bad made up some substantial ground in there, which I like to see for a horse like this at a level trying turf for the first time, or for the second time, because technically the debut was on turf in September of 2023. But I thought that was a much improved effort, and I thought Jeff Mullins, the longer they're in that barn, the better. can certainly take another step up. You're getting 5-1 with the best turf rider on the West Coast and Hector Barrios on post position advantage compared to where he was last time out at Del Mar. And then he gets also the advantage of drawing inside of Sweet Odyssey, who's going to have to work out a trip from a little wider out. So I thought both sides of bad could certainly be one side of good on Saturday.
I like it. Here's Sweet. I mean, absolute. What a great ride, great trip. Had a little bit of lead switch issue here. Your horse, the number 6, is coming on late. The 1, 5, and 9 are also in this race we just mentioned. I'll freeze it. Your horse is definitely coming on there. Here they are. They're literally right next to each other. 1, 5, 6, 9. This is the one you like the most. Let me check the old gallop out. He's just a little bit late to change leads, right? But I mean, he did get a dream trip. He's right there. It looks like he can run all day. He's got a long stride.
The issue with the lead change, they don't teach that at Wyoming Down. So that was his first race in Southern California. So I got to give him a pass. He's still learning, putting things together, but not many better than Jeff Mullins to improve a horse. And I look for second time turf to be the key there.
Don't be hating on the Wyoming Downs circuit. We know how tough that circuit can be. Interesting. You don't see many horses coming from there to Del Mar. Yeah, I didn't know what to make too much of that. I thought they all got decent trips. I'm not being very creative in this race, but Paul, let's go to you. You're going to go with the number 4, Lorenzo Bernini. But what I like about this horse, Paul, again, he's not coming out of a race that I thought was sort of dropping down from main special weight.
Yeah, I like the drop, and I like the when a horse runs like him, first time on turf, he was a little forward. He ran okay. He was rank, as you could see in the comments. You don't have to show it, but I just think, I kind of wish they had kept him on turf after that. But I think he has the right to move forward on turf off a race like that. The breeding is a little in question. The authentics aren't great, but the Empire Maker on the dam side is good. Mainly it was about the drop, though. I didn't see anything really compelling that made me want to go away from one of the horses. And he's dropping down from straight maiden specials as opposed to the 5 that was in Calbred maiden specials. So, the drop combined with Rispoli, combined with, I think he can definitely move forward off that other turf race, was on the rail, which may or may not have been ideal. Who knows? I do think you got to go a little skinnier. There's that word again in this race than the first leg.
Paul, you're well-versed around the backside of tracks. This horse was gelded. I'm sure that's a tough decision when you geld a 2-year-old. This horse obviously has got, some issues with his attitude or something else. But I don't dislike seeing that. I always feel as a owner of some horses with small percentages, I always feel like it's a bit of a shame that has to happen. But I'm sure it's for the best for this horse. So. We'll see if
I will say
the
this
snippage helps.
To geld, although he is 3 now, but to geld the horse, to geld the horse this
My bad.
young that they paid $360 for is noteworthy.
Yeah.
Right. You pay 30 for the horse. The idea is but you also do it for a reason, right? or any number.
I would hope so.
Any number of reasons. And, one thing we should point out to people, that date is the date it's reported. A lot of times people look at that date and say, oh, he's running, 3 days after his nuts got cut off. No, he's not. That's the technical term for gelding.
We've been playing this for years. They got to do something about that, Paul.
I mean, certainly, anyway. It's reasonable to think it was, in the last 6 weeks to 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
But why can't we have the exact date? But again, to take ammo racing has a lot of horses, so they're more likely to do it than someone who has a much smaller string. But again,
I'm not proud of this pick at all, ladies and gentlemen. I'll chalk out with Sweet Odyssey. I don't like 0 for 4. I don't like 4-year-olds having broken their maiden. What I do like is D'Amato second off the layoff with the Fresu. Probably needed that last race. Raced very well. I'm expecting a better effort. He got on the horse last time. We just watched the replay. Just barely lost. I'll go with Sweet Odyssey, but I'm also going to throw Empires Classic in there, who was actually in that same race again, second off the layoff. I just think these horses second off the layoff are going to improve. But I got to tell you, Ryan's horse can win. I mean, I would use the 3 in the mix, even though I don't have it on the screen. It's just a very difficult race, and another race you got to feel like you might need to spread. And what ends up being a difficult turf pick 3, obviously, because those are the first 2 legs we've covered. Now, the late pick 3, which we're going to go into right now, starts in race 8, maiden 20 on the dirt for a 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Actually, this is 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, but I noticed they're all 3-year-olds. They happen to be fillies. Field of 10, not the most talented horses, but ones that deserve to get to the winner's circle. Ride Elbow Ranch, the 9, is the favorite at 9-5 for Mark Glatt. I'm going 3-9-6. Paul 7-6-9. Ryan 6-9-3. Again, we're quite different here. Paul, you're going with Tupelo, a speedy filly for McCarthy and Gonzalez. If I recall, going back to the dirt from turf, is that right?
Yeah, that was really the thinking. You can't really run much worse than she ran on turf. So surface change. The Bernardinis obviously can run on turf, but it looks more dirt on the dam side. And this is strictly a matter of change in surface, big drop. It's a fire sale. Eclipse paid $215. They're dying to give the horse away for $20. Is that a good sign? Technically, no, but someone's got to win this race. Comes off a decent work at San Luis Rey. I didn't. I'm glad not to have the favorite in a race like this. The 9 can certainly win, but I don't think I want a 9-5 shot in this field.
That's who Gary is going with. What's up, Gary? Thanks for joining the show. I appreciate it. Sorry, Gary. I like Gary's little YouTube picture. What do you call that, Ryan? Is his profile pic? Is that what we call
profile picture.
There we go. See, even the old guys get it right once in a while. But what is going on, Ryan, with Eclipse? A little fire sale. They must be getting ready to buy some horses at the, I don't know, in the spring somewhere or whatever. But look, not every horse works out. I hear you, Paul. This horse can absolutely win if she fires on the dirt. Ryan, you're going to go with the horse right above that, Tiger Fire, a horse who's dropped down last time, didn't run that much better, to be honest, but it was a hot pace. Had Ayuso before, now gets Rispoli. Bullet work in the holster, although that was only 3 furlong work.
Yeah, real quick for the Eclipse Thoroughbred partnership that you mentioned, they do that drop whenever they kind of don't see that potential that they hoped was there. They did it with a horse, Nation, over the summer. Dropped the horse down that was, facing those allowance company, dropped him into 10,000 non-2, one for fun, and they were happy to kind of, get rid of him. And it's, it's part of the game. Not every $200,000 plus purchase is going to work out. I ended up going with Tiger Fire because I think the effort 2 back is kind of the one that I look to, along with the debut. Both of those dirt efforts are pretty strong. Last time out, I'm willing to give that an excuse, even though that was a drop down from the maiden special weight to maiden claimer. Broke from the 2 post and was kind of lugging in. It says broken in the comments, but for almost like 6 or 7 strides, the horse was going to the left, kind of, sawed off the 1 a little bit, and then was kind of up on the rail in an uncomfortable spot, tracking a hot pace. So I can't really blame him for backing out of there. I anticipate Rispoli to be a little more aggressive out of there. Maybe that's why they had that 3 furlong workout, get that early speed emphasized in the mornings, because he's shown that on dirt in 2 of his, in all of his starts, really, but in 2 of his dirt starts, 2 and 4 back, he's had the lead through the first couple points of call. I think that's going to be the goal again with Rispoli aboard, and I hope the drop down to maiden 20 is kind of what, puts the final nail in the coffin, and you can see Timeform has him up front as well.
Well, I'm sure you'd like to see this. I think the break is really important in this race with these lower class horses. They've got a break. If they're out front, that would probably help very much. And speaking of a horse that needs to break well, I believe Rispoli's on a certain animal in the Breeders' Cup Classic that needs to break well. Journalism working very well in the morning, supposedly. Good luck to those West Coast connections. We got plenty of time to talk about that runner, but he is up against it because that Classic field is loaded this year. I'm going to go with Moonlit Courage, guys. This horse also has been on turf twice, but the dirt race was by far the best for this Omaha Beach filly. Out of a Malibu Moonmare, Claire de Lune is actually a horse I know because there's connections with Arlington and Richard Duchessois with the horse Claire de Lune. But anyway, a very talented turf horse. The horse has been working fine on dirt. Again, they figured this was a turf horse, and I get it because the breeding, at least on the dam side, says a little more turfy. But her best effort was on dirt, and it was in main optional 62.5 back in May over this surface. This horse has a similar profile to me, Ryan, as the 7. As your horse, the 6, who can show speed, is a little inconsistent. This is my racehorse filly, so you know this horse will probably take more money than 6-1. I don't know. I'd have to spread here, guys. I don't have a strong opinion. I hate to. It seems like I've said the first 3 races, but welcome to Santa Anita on Saturday. There's just some tough races. So I'm going to go with Moonlit Courage without a lot of conviction. I have your horse, Ryan, by the way, as you can see in third. Paul has that in second. We should mention the favorite, which none of us are going with. Paul, what is it about Ride Elbow Ranch quickly at 9-5 that we all just don't like?
Well, I mean, 5 chances. It is a big drop, similar to the horse I picked. Ran better on turf. That was one of the things I thought. I thought the horse's best race by far is the third race, which was on turf. Was in for 50 last time, but I didn't think he had a little trouble early, but I don't know. I think it just boils down to, as I said when I was talking about my pick, I don't really want the favorite in a race like this. Having said that, I don't know how heavy a favorite anyone is going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's just she can win. I don't know. She just doesn't do much for me. She might even be less than 9-5. Let's go to the feature, guys. The Lure. And Ryan, I know you're a young man, but Paul and I remember Lure.
Oof.
Wow, what a turf miler that one was. Mainly up on the
Monster.
lead, Ryan, and she was just really, really good.
Monster.
She won all over the place, but mainly in Florida, I believe, on the East Coast, New York, etc. You can look up Lure, Ryan. You could look up a very talented horse. And coincidentally, Paul, it's a 1 mile race on the turf. Nice job, Santa Anita, for making sure that we follow the footsteps of Lure. $80,000 purse, field of 7. We have the morning line favorite. Let me go at full screen here. Is the number 1 St. Anthony for Neil Drysdale and JJ. Let's see where we're going. Of course, this is the closeout leg of a difficult turf pick 3. Again, last race the turf pick 3. I'm going 1-4-6. Paul, wow, a Paul devout Catholic throwing out the Saint. Paul, they're never gonna let you down there at church on Sunday. Paul's going 4-5-7. Just kidding, Paul. And Ryan is going 3-4-6. Ryan, talk about Watsonville in a wide open race. You're gonna go with Mr. Glatt and Mr. Fresu.
I am. This is a wide open race, as you said. I don't like the favorite just because 0-for-6 at Santa Anita is not a number that I like to see over that turf course. And this is restricted to horses who have not won a sweepstakes this year. I thought this one looks to be coming back well off the layoff. That work 3 back was really nice. I was able to catch that courtesy of XBTV. Same with I think it was I want to say it was the work 4 back, but it may have been the 3 furlong work now that I think about it. But then also the work leading into this race on October 11th was also very strong. Mark Glatt, obviously known for having his horses ready off of any type of layoff. This one happens to be the 61 to 180 day type. But this horse appears ready. This is a kind of, hope this horse fires fresh type of angle. I like the way this horse has run before. Had the ability to stay close to a rather slow pace in the Mathis Mile last December here when this one got a grade 2 win. And has, typically seems to be that one run type of horse, I think is what his best style is. So I'm hoping that's the case in a race where I certainly think that there is going to be pace up front because of the presence of the number 5 Goliath.
I wanted to look at all the works and on DRF you can do that, Ryan. If you look carefully, guys, I have to say, Ryan, it's a very astute point because other than a bullet work on June 7th, the horse usually works well, not this well. I mean, there's a bunch of bullet works. So the horse is feeling good, feeling fresh. Will that translate to the afternoon? We'll have to see. But the horse is working as well as he ever has by Jack Milton out of a Kitten's Joy mare. Of course, Jack Milton by Warfront. So, I mean, there's a ton of turf breeding here. Obviously, the horse is a turf horse. Good luck to you with Watsonville. just needs the right trip. Definitely fits. Paul, you're going to go with the horse outside. This horse has been frustrating me, man. I got to tell you. I bet endlessly. He just hasn't quite panned out. I know McCarthy said he wanted to go long. He said that, Ryan, I believe, on a show with you on Pacific
Yes.
Horse Players. That was what back in like the winter. They sent
Yeah.
him long, and he ran well in the man. He ran okay in the Manhattan. He's just run okay. He's been back and forth with distances, Paul. They're not even sure what to do with him. I got a feeling this is a frustrating horse for the connections, and they are dropping into this restricted stake 7-2 for Rispoli.
Yeah, that could be a factor, and I agree with you. If you look at it, a mile and an eighth, back to a mile and 3/8 last time in the Del Mar Handicap. I actually thought that race might set him up okay for this. This horse was running extremely well in the early part of last year, so now we're 18 months removed. I get it. Here's an example of the after effects of that dreaded DFS. Okay, this horse had about as much running in the Derby as any of us three did. All right, and look at how this horse ran going into the Derby, and look at how this horse has run coming out of the Derby. The numbers don't lie. Now, having said that, I do think turf might be okay, and the horse is 3 for 6 on turf. Has won on turf at Santa Anita. That Manhattan field was obviously much, much, much better than this. He was kind of mid-pack, but 5 lengths off deterministic. Deterministic would look pretty good here. I don't know. 7-2 sounds about right. But again, I think the main point is that they are searching for what to do when what to do was not run on May 4th in the Kentucky Derby. That's what to do was.
Yeah, I agree with you. By the way, scrolling on the bottom of the screen, for those of you joining the show a little bit late, we have a fantastic offer. It's right at the bottom. If you're listening, you can check it out on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. It's our Power Pick tip sheet for the Breeders' Cup. It's only $35 for current Saturday subscribers, $45 for non. Over 20 pages of information for the Breeders' Cup. Go to our website, look at the top of the screen, click the Power Pick tab, and then there's a drop down and go to Breeders' Cup PPs, which stands for Power Picks in this case. Please check it out. We've been knocking it out of the park the last several years. I really think you will enjoy our special coverage of the Breeders' Cup with a ton of information. I'm going with St. Anthony, guys. And Ryan, you're right. He's absolutely, there's no arguing. He's absolutely 0 for 6. Thank you, Paul. He's 0 for 6 at Santa Anita with not even a place. You know what I like the most, though, Ryan? He's really coming in this race the best he's ever come into. And that Del Mar race, which you know, of course, very well, was not your normal allowance race. I mean, look at this field that he faced off the layoff. My goodness. Final Boss, Astronomer, Air Force Red, Gold Phoenix, my boy Scooby, not Scooby-Doo, but Scooby Quandro. That's basically that's a grade 3, basically, Ryan, right there. And he ran absolutely fine. And then last time out, he went to the Hills and Valleys in Kentucky Downs. He ran okay, but that was a very speedy track. They went 44 to the half. He had no chance there. I just like the way he's coming into the race. Now, maybe he doesn't like Santa Anita. I mean, he's 0 for 6, but he's been in great stakes at Santa Anita. So maybe just the spots haven't been right more than just not liking the track. And I got to tell you, Ryan, I mean, if you really dislike the track, wouldn't Drysdale just rest him up for Del Mar? So I don't know. I know it's 0 for 6 and it looks awful, but I'm not really buying it in this situation. I don't like the 5-2 at all, but I do like him quite a bit. I think there's a lot of horses, guys, in this race that are very, very hard to trust. And I'm going to go with the Saint. I'm going to go with St. Anthony. Let's close out the card with the last race of the day. And of course, that closes out the late pick 3. And it's a really fun bet. And to hear more about the late pick 3, let's do that right now, guys, because it's a great investment and it's a serious bet to look at. Here it is.
Now offered at the Great Race Place. $3 late pick 3 featuring the last 3 races. $5 late double on the last 2 races. Both with a player-friendly 15% takeout. Every race day at Santa Anita Park.
There's Frankie. There we go. We missed him there with the bow and arrow. Let's go ahead to the last race, guys. Here it is on the screen. Allowance optional 20,000, 6 furlongs. We got fillies and mares, California bred. Some are in for the tag for 20. Some of them are not. Morning line favorite is on the outside, number 10, Lady Gregory for Knapp and Freysu. Boy, we've mentioned Freysu a lot tonight, guys. Maybe Freysu might be having a big day on Saturday, but we shall see. Picks are going to be coming up right now. I'm going, let me scroll it so we can have it running at the bottom of the screen there. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. I'm going 2-10-6, Paul 5-10-2. Ryan, again, off the reservation. When I say reservation, not crazy, just different than myself and Paul, which we love different. Ryan is going 7-6-10. Ryan, talk about in the air tonight. I want to start singing, Paul and Ryan, but I don't think anyone wants to hear us. Big fan of Phil Collins, by the way. One of the best drum beats and fills, as they call him, as a former drummer. A fill is when you, anyway, I won't explain, but just Phil Collins, a god. All right, Paul, I had it. In the air tonight, Ryan, Knapp and Tiago, 10-1.
Yeah, that, I mean, obviously, I love the name. And this horse is finally in a very logical spot. I mean, this horse has been facing the best of the Calbreds that we've seen recently. Almond Joy, who this horse lost to 2 back, is entered in the Raven Run Stakes this weekend out at Keeneland with Kent DeSormo even flying out to ride. Lady Mendelssohn was in that race, who also came back to win pretty nicely out here on the West Coast. Last time out, this horse lost to Usha, who is also entered in the Raven Run Stakes, and that was versus Open Allowance Company. I just think In the Air tonight is finally taking a reasonable drop in class to a level that she fits at. And I think that even though she's in for the tag, I know some might look at that as a bit of a red flag. I look at that as just, it's kind of logical at this point. They've faced her against, these levels pretty much her entire racing career to this point. She hasn't quite gotten the job done, but she's run her race every time. It's not like she's giving things up towards the end. She's always trying. She just is not quite up to that caliber of horse. But she's finally getting in with who I believe is going to be her friends. So she's in for the tag. They might lose her, but I do think there's enough pace in this race that Tiago is going to be able to make that late closing run and should have enough just based on class towards the end, because there's a lot of horses I do not trust as far as I can throw them in this race.
It feels like we've said that a lot tonight, Ryan. These races on Saturday are definitely tricky. 10-1 on In the Air tonight. Paul, you're going to go with the 5, Thirsty Trickster, at 12-1 morning line, who's been against State Bred sometimes not, for Mr. Hess and Rispoli. This is a major jockey switch.
Yeah, it is. And, I think 12-1 is reasonable here. I'm glad to see my friend Ryan take a bomb. Maybe if his bomb doesn't win, mine will. But you know what? The dirt buy is fit. This 10 is the morning line favorite. Well, he's off an 86 buyer on turf. This mid-60s buyer is at least in the ballpark for this race. It's a huge jockey upgrade. Ran second last time. I don't love that he was 34-1 last time. He's going to be 1/3 of that this time. But, in a race like this, I think this horse at double digits is a legitimate play. Is he the likeliest winner? No, he isn't the likeliest winner, but I think the 10 is going to be a little overbet here.
If I had a drink, I would do it 3 times. As this filly by Stay Thirsty, the filly.
Oh,
Paul,
God. Yeah, it's 10 on the East Coast town. Sorry.
All right. 10-10. People are just going out at that time on the,
I was too.
campuses.
40 years ago, I was too.
I hear you. Your horse beat my horse last time, Crystal Clean, who's 5-2, but that was a very hot pace. I'm not going to take time to watch it. The number 2, Crystal Clean, Sadler Barrows. That was only her second time start, Paul, and she was up on a very hot pace and actually took over the lead, going 6.5, and then got caught by 2 horses. One of them was yours, but this is only 6. It's only her 3rd lifetime start. She's been working great. She gets an inside post. I like this horse a lot, Crystal Clean, on Saturday. In fact, I could single her. I did not single her, but I feel that good about this horse, the number 2 in the last race. I could absolutely single that one. Depending on my tickets, I might need to do that. Jim says, based on the analysis, I have to calculate how much a big ticket will cost. Let's see, all by all. Ooh, well, that's probably not recommended, Jim, but there are definitely some tough races. Paul, Jim, go ahead and single Crystal Clean, the number 2 in the last race. That will help. Won't help with your turf pick 3, but will help with the late pick 3. Let's go into our picks, guys. Speaking of the late pick 3 right now, we'll wrap up the show. Paul, these are turf pick 3s we're giving everyone. Turf pick 3s only. This is race 579. He's going 457 with 48 with 457, $54 play, Paul.
Yeah, and we talked about needing to spread probably more in that first leg, but try to keep the ticket reasonable for the sake of budget here. So I went thinnest in the middle leg, and that was with the Lorenzo Bernini horse along with Your Sweet Odyssey, the favorite. So they were logicals there, and back to 3 deep in the the ninth, the last leg of the turf pick 3. Did not use St. Anthony in that last leg, which, Howard, I don't know. I probably am going to get trouble for that after giving an invocation the other day, not using St. Anthony this weekend.
And in fact, America's Best Racing, who Ryan knows well, did a nice little montage, little feature, a package, so to speak, on X. And you were on it, Paul, during your invocation, which was very cool. Yes.
Yeah. So not using St. Anthony, so I'll probably get hell for that. Get it?
Well,
but anyway,
that's
how I went about it. I used Goliad in that race in the pick 3 in case he forgets to stop.
I looked at Goliad quickly. I've had nothing, guys. I think when he was good, Ryan, he was really good back early in the day. But he was fast. I watched him win at Kentucky Downs the one time I was there. I mean, he used to be really fast. Anyway, Ryan's going 478 with 3478. With 3-4, $72 ticket for your turf pick 3, Ryan.
Yeah, this is an unusual ticket for me. Normally I play a little bit skinnier, but this was a very tough sequence. I'm against the favorite in Drew Liner in the first, so I went with Nancy 2.0, 80s, and the first timer we didn't really talk about Violet's song, but this one's by Violence, Peter Miller, Hector Barrios. So I thought maybe just a little bit interesting in a race that I don't have a whole lot of confidence in. In the next race, that's the both sides of bad race, where I'll probably play a turf pick 3 and single both sides of bad and press up a little bit as well, because I do like that. I do like that horse in there. I think she's coming in well. I also went with the 4, the 7 going viral, who I think is a little bit interesting. We didn't really talk about, but she hangs on towards the end of her races. And then I'll keep it simple in the last race. Watsonville and Endlessly. To me, it's got to be one of those two. I'm against St. Anthony. Goliad doesn't look the same. I don't know what to do with Nesso's Last Hurrah, but I feel like that's the horse that's probably going to try and push Goliad. So I'm okay trying to beat that horse. So $72. So I'll swing.
I like it. Look what I'm doing in the first race, guys. I have no idea the first race. I mean, no idea. I'm going 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 with 4, 6, 8, and then. We don't usually talk about religion on this show, but the Jewish guy is signaling the saint, and the Catholic guy is fading the saint. Very interesting. Guys, I singled because I didn't want to spend too much on the ticket. I'll be very upfront and honest with everyone at home. I don't love St. Anthony. There's no angle that I think puts him over the top. I just think he's been working well. He's improving. He's going to save ground. He's got JJ. I don't trust a lot of horses. I think he might even fade to 3-1, guys. I don't think we'll even get the 5-2. And I just have to single somewhere in this particular bet. Otherwise, I'd be spending over 100, which goes against my personal rule on this show. But I'd be spreading more. I like your top horse in that race. I like Paul's top horse. It's a very tough turf pick 3, ladies and gentlemen. So that might be the bet to play on Saturday. Paul, Ryan, as we wrap up the show, final thoughts from either one of you, either West Coast info or anything otherwise.
We're getting closer to the Breeders' Cup. The Santa Anita card, we said it was a head scratcher for many of the races, but I think that adds to the fun. I'm going to have win bets on, both sides of bad and in the air tonight. I'm enjoying the Raven Run Stakes. I want to watch that horse run. I hope that horse wins. Facing Ragtime, who our Godolphin friend right there, obviously. That is a very, very good filly. I have a question. Do you know why she's not going to the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint or trying to run there? Because
I don't. I thought she
very
would.
Talented.
I thought she would. She's really good. That Almond Joy. That's who's the trainer? Is it
Aggie Ordonez?
Aggie Ordonez.
Yeah,
and I've been happy for her watching that horse run.
Oh yeah, and the owners, I happened to. It was like a small world thing where one of the owners of that ownership group was the director at the after school program I went to as a kid. Nothing to do with horse racing whatsoever, but also happens to be the uncle of my roommate, who also just complete coincidence. So yeah, but she's won 5 in a row, and to me, Ragtime not going to the Breeders' Cup and going in a spot like this is maybe, cause for pause in terms of maybe she's beatable. And a filly going the right way, winning 5 straight. I want to take the California horse to take them all down.
Yeah,
you'll never hear the end of it if she gets it done.
I wish I knew, Ryan, that Ragtime was in that race when I was at Keeneland the other day, because if I did, I would have had a more intelligent answer for you.
It's all good. I didn't know she was in there either.
Yeah, I that horse was on my horse watch, I think, from the first time she ran.
Yeah, you had her at Saratoga. I remember that day.
I really liked that horse. I certainly would have had an answer, but I don't, because I didn't. Good. He was running in that race, but I will be betting her in that race. I can tell you that.
If I get 3-1, I have to, right? I'll have to play some with her on there as well.
She's been professional from day one. By the way, Almond Joy's got nuts. Mounds don't. Just want to put that out there as a special service announcement for those of you fans of candy.
Which is ironic considering Almond Joy is a filly.
That is very. We've had a very we've went the religious route. We've talked about body parts. Very interesting show tonight. Our apologies to Santa Anita if we went a little bit off the reservation
it's
tonight.
All good fun.
It's all good. Ryan mentioned a little rain in his area on the West Coast earlier this week, but should be just fine this weekend. Guys, great job as always. Really appreciate it. Fun $3 turf pick 3 and late pick 3 this Saturday, a precursor to the Breeders' Cup coming up in 2 weeks. For friends and co-hosts Paul Halloran, Ryan Anderson, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 28 of Great Race Plays. Make sure you do this on Saturday if you're watching on the screen right now. Well, I'll wait for it to get off the screen. Crush your bets at the Great Race Place this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.